The Reluctant Assassin, written by Bip Wetherell, narrated by Stephen Miller. Chapter 1. The First Assassination. 12 October 1917. Ypres-Salient, Belgium. Captain Mark Stevens was 21 years old, 6 feet 2 inches, and weighed 12 stone. As he sat in the shell hole that passed for a trench, waiting to go over the top on the first day of the Battle of Passchendaele, you could see no fear in his blue eyes. A man used to the horrors and degradation of the First World War, there was just a look of grim determination to get the job done. He looked at his watch to ensure he blew his whistle to signal his men into battle at the synchronized time of 6 a.m. 5,000 French, Canadian, English, and German men would die that day. A mixture of. Today was not the day for Mark Stevens to kill any Germans, though. He had been given a specific job to do. He had been sent there to assassinate an English officer. The Military Club, London, England. Established in 1630 for the purpose of providing superb accommodation, good food, and wine, the service at the Military Club was renowned. Officers of all rank, regardless of which regiment they belonged to, could join this exclusive club as long as they could provide two things: a first-class sponsor who would stand for them at the induction interview, and secondly, a healthy bank balance that could provide the 10 guineas fee to join. As well as the restaurant and the well-stocked bar, the club provided 25 bedrooms to be used if the men needed to stay in London overnight or for a couple of days. There was a small rear entrance that was used for deliveries of stock, etc., and also young ladies when it was deemed appropriate. Just inside the rear entrance up a separate stairway, there was a dining room that was only used for small private gatherings. On the last Sunday evening of every month, a small band of politicians, all ex-soldiers, had exclusive use of the room. The food was laid out in a buffet style, and the wine was already uncorked and placed into ice buckets, so there was no need for staff to attend. After the fourth politician arrived, the door was locked. "Has number 7 arrived in France yet?" The senior man at the head of the table was in his 70s, but was obviously the man in charge. The youngest of the four, the newcomer, replied, "He arrived 3 weeks ago, and has been given a platoon of the King's Own Riflemen under his command as captain." The second of the men, who was there to write down the minutes of the meeting, went to speak, but was interrupted by the third man. "We know we cannot give the directive for the kill without number 7's final authority. But it is a nightmare over there. Communications are sporadic, and number 7 has missed his last 2 meetings with his radio operator as the front line has not been relieved for the last 7 days. For all we know, he could be dead by now." The directive had been formed only that year to deal with situations that could never be dealt with in the correct manner if it was decided to go through the normal channels. Only one man had been selected and had been highly trained for special assignments. After the man had been sworn in, he had been given his own number and was never referred to by his real name. The very existence of such a trained operative was only known by the 4 men in the room and one other, His Majesty the King. There was silence in the room while all 4 men contemplated the situation. It was the law of the directive that once a target had been discussed and the kill was approved, the man who had to carry out the task had the right to ensure that the decision was the correct one. All they could do was wait. When Captain Mark Stevens arrived in France, his first job was to contact the commanding officer of the King's Own Riflemen to explain his posting. It took him 2 days to finally track down the regiment's headquarters in an old disused farmhouse a couple of miles behind the lines near the village of Passchendaele. Brigadier Gwyn Evans was a soldier of the old school, and showed disgust when Stevens reported that he had been sent to trace an officer suspected of relaying information to the enemy. When Mark explained that he wanted to serve alongside the suspect at the front line, Evans stated his confusion. "Why can't we just haul the beggar out?"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?